Good day and welcome to the Sport Rip Show. I'm your host, Limba Mupetami. Let's head over to the hit list. Namibian cyclist Vera Lusa says being crowned 2023 APSA Cape Epic winner alongside her Mauritian teammate Kim Lecord is a massive achievement and marks a big moment in her career. Lusa and her teammate were on Sunday crowned overall winners of the female category after completing 648 kilometers of cycling. The Namibia Rugby Union held a press conference this week announcing its contract agreements with 21 senior players for the Windhoek Draught Welwitschias with regards to Namibia's participation in the Mzansi Challenge. At the occasion, NRU's Director of Rugby, Alistair Coetzee, who also acts as defense coach for the Welwitschias during their participation in the South African Provincial Series, shared some of his thoughts on the challenges experienced with injuries and unavailability among especially the front row players. The Welwitschias narrowly lost their opening match against Border Bulldogs by 26-21 in East London last weekend. Coetzee revealed that the Welwitschias brought in an experienced South African hooker, Peter Janssen, who may possibly be in consideration for this coming weekend's first home match for the Welwitschias against the Southwestern District's Eagles in Windhoek. Janssen previously played Super Rugby and Currie Cup for the Lions before moving on to represent the Tel Aviv Heat as well as the US Major League Rugby franchise, the New England Free Jacks. Check out this footage from the press conference.
Give us some info on the match last weekend.
Yes, I will. Thank you for the question. But I think before I go there, I'd feel it my duty not to commend Windhoek Draught for this amazing support that they're giving the NRU in really tough economical situations and conditions. It's not easy. You know, all over, even in South Africa, it is tough to get money for sport nowadays. So honestly, we do appreciate it, and we do, value that support that has been given. Therefore, we can have two players like Max and Prince back in the country. Obviously, they were going to sign with Tel Aviv Heat in Israel. It would have been awkward to play against your own player when they were still in the competition. So, we wouldn't want that to happen. That's why they're here. And also, it's been a long while last when players actually could be assisted in the form of a contract. It's not a must, but we cannot see that players must still, this day and age, pay to play rugby in terms of traveling in and out. It's unique conditions in Namibia. For me, it's also a complete new experience to see, the situation and running a rugby program whereby players come in, they're full-time workers. So they really almost amateur players because they're full-time workers and they have to come in 500 k's travel to come in to be coached and to be a team. So those are all the challenges. Like in the statement, this will alleviate. Also, another form, and you'll see some new faces from time to time in the Welwitschias squad, players from outside Namibia. We're currently sitting with a prop crisis where we have 5 props in the space of 1.5 weeks not available for the team. We've got Oneuptwo, who's retired, he stopped playing rugby. We've got Nelly Smith, who did his groin. We've got Andre Rademacher, who also pulled a muscle. We've got Desiderius Setti, who did his knee training. And then we brought in a club player from United, Johan Brockman, and he also got injured. So it happens in rugby. So where else do we get props? In Namibia. Therefore, it's not an unusual thing. It happened in the past, when we don't have any more in a particular position, or where we could be helped in a particular position, which we don't have the talent for, we go look for somewhere else. We've signed player called Peter Janssen. He's a hooker, so he's also joined us from yesterday. And this is also where this support is so much needed. So Peter has joined us since yesterday, and if we as coaches have done the rounds in the whole of Namibia, and we've looked at all the hookers, and that's one position where we still lack depth to be able to compete at first class division. Therefore, we are looking at another prop from outside to join and to help the crisis that we're in. Coming back to last week's game, obviously there is an expectation to win, but somehow we've got a bit of a perception that this team will just rock up and win. We've got challenges, and the media must know about it, because the media give a voice to the people, and the people just see when the Welwitschias run out. That's the professional side. Look how nicely they look with all the branding and all that. The reality is, we're training at the moment 2.5 days a week with a full squad. So our players from the coast are not here. They will join us Thursday. The pack forwards from Grootfontein will join us on Wednesday. So we've got actually Wednesday, Thursday, Friday captains, and then we play. It's not an excuse, it's not ideal, but that's the reality of the Namibian situation. So when it comes to results, and we all want results, it's not going to happen now. It's really going to come. It's going to take a while to gel this team, but it will come. But this team is growing. The team is really starting to improve the game understanding, to improve working in the system, to improve their whole their skill set under pressure and things like that. Because they're used to playing, not used to, the last level of rugby is club rugby. But we're playing against teams who've been in the Mzansi Challenge for 2-3 seasons now, on a trot. So that's the difference. But I'm really positive that the growth is getting there, and results is a byproduct of the process that we are busy with. So our process, it's really looking well. We have this, we had the game against Border, still with everything, we didn't control the controllables well. No excuses. We should be better at certain things, and we could have won it. Two things that stood out for me, obviously with we had to use 2 under-21 prop. The one is still underage, so he even couldn't play. Yambu joined us as a loose-head prop, on the Thursday, and we battled at set piece. That was a big thing. Our scrummaging, our line-out, maul stopping, basically that's where it forced us into a lot of penalties, conceding a lot of penalties, and we conceded 19 penalties in the game, and our target is less than 10. So we not conceded 19, and it's difficult to win any game if your set piece is not holding its own or dominating and conceding so many penalties. But be that as it may, things that we need to improve. We're looking to include Herman Kutsia in the squad again. We're still under 20, and we're looking at working at a few things. So we're playing a tougher team this weekend, the SWD Eagles. But we, as a team, know we're playing at home. We'll see effort out there. We'll see effort. We're hoping to improve on those little mistakes of last week and put up a good performance.
Up next is Sports Administrator Dimitri Bittler, who shares his story and his views on Namibian sport for the past 33 years. Enjoy this interview.
Well, many times they don't appreciate the role of people they play in sports, and I think since I started my journalism career, I've seen Dimitri Bittler around, but not many knows his journey, where he started and why he started and all. So Dimi, first of all, welcome to the show. Could you just tell us a brief about your start? As a career, why you chose to be an administrator? Did you play sports before? And what made you decide even to be part of the sport industry?
Thank you, Jesse, for having me. It's It's a long journey, comes most of my life. I started sports around the age of 8. I played rugby at the time, Chockers and Otavi, and over the years I've always been into sports. I played soccer, I played rugby, I played volleyball as well, here and there for fun. So I was always a sports person, so I've always been around the sports scenes. Various regional teams, national teams I've reached. But administratively, I think my wife is to blame or to actually applaud, because she felt I should come in and step in on an administrative level when we started our club, and from there it grew into a regional body, and hopefully in the near future into a national body as well.
Yes, I wanted to know, is it a family thing, or was it just you playing sports at the time?
Well, at the beginning it was obviously just me. A lot of my family members don't really play sports, but myself, I was heavily involved in sports till today. And then from there, obviously, my wife came in and it became kind of a family thing. Now the whole family actually does sports. From all the kids in the house actually do sports.
Well, it is inspirational though. School-wise, where did you attend school?
First, primary school, I was at Otavi Primary School, which later changed into Korup Junior Secondary, but I left before then. Then I went to Etosha High School. Etosha High School, I went to UNAM. And then from UNAM, I was at the College of the Arts, and I did some online courses and so on.
All right. Have you ever imagined your life? First of all, when you started, being so much involved, was it a dream that you had, or was it just something that was just happening?
I think I was thrown on in the deep end and I was asked just to swim. I never planned. I actually planned to play social games and stuff myself. Never really thought of being a coach next to the field or actually being an administrator.
Yes. So you had interest in rugby and as well as volleyball here. I think that speaks volume of the AfroCat Alliance. The fact that they are now having a volleyball team, they have a netball team, a football team. Was there any soccer from your side back then?
Yes, I still play soccer. I'm not bad on the ball, I must say. Okay, it's age is catching up, but yeah, soccer is one of the games. In the black community, as a black kid, you had to play soccer to fit in. So soccer definitely. Tennis also, which we also introduced to AfroCat recently. So tennis was also something I started briefly. It wasn't my sport, so I didn't end up anyway pursuing it much.
Yes, you went on, founded the AfroCat. Was it an easy step to take, especially in terms of that we know that sport in this country is underfunded and all?
Well, it's a massive commitment from us, a very massive commitment to be able to take that step. The fortunate part was that AfroCat existed prior to the sports. It had modeling and stuff that was before that. So it made it easier to transition the organization and add sports into the organization. But the commitment is really, it's taking a lot, and it's a massive commitment from us.
Yes.
Financially, emotionally, and physically as well.
Yes, AfroCat itself, taking a lot of young people from the streets, I think that we have witnessed. Was that one of your dreams?
Well, our dream was always to give back to the community. We've always been youth driven. So our dream has been what we're doing now, taking the kids off the streets, giving them opportunities to take part in sports or any other activities that we can actually provide for them.
Okay. Well, it has been years AfroCat has developed, and I'm sure you all have played a part in it. Any people that you would probably say that were at the helm and were really helping you with this program?
Well, my wife definitely, she's been part of the journey, and she has helped immensely. There are also people like Elosius, who has pushed the volleyball to where it is right now. We have our coaches, staff, Even the founding players, the founding models that started the organization, the founding members, all of them actually, everybody contributed in some way or form. It's really difficult to mention everybody now.
Yes,
I'll take an hour of your time. So
yes.
definitely I really want to show my appreciation to everybody that has been part of the journey.
Okay. Do you feel that you guys have literally achieved your goals, or you are probably halfway in them?
Well, I think we are not even halfway into our goals. We want to be fully fledged, so there are a lot of things that we still want to put in place. So a lot of achievements still we need to acquire, and our national representation, meaning regionally, also we want to improve it. So there's still a lot of work to do, but so far so good. We're on track, a little bit behind in aspect to what we expected, but I think we're doing okay. I think the economy is also, taking it.
It's all, yes, on everybody, yes. Well, Dimitri, personally, you know that someone sees Dimitri, a man that is very hardcore there, went next to the field, training the guys and all that. What is the soft side of Mr. Bittler?
Yes, I'm saying I'm a gentle giant. We're serious on the field, but off the field we family, we're friends, we're cool under circumstances. But at the end of the day, it's not really that we are harsh. We're just a bit strict, and I think with the youth that is required. So the strictness always gives off that serious persona.
Mm-hmm. And in terms of your coaching styles and stuff like that, is there anyone that you literally admired in the games that you have coached that has driven you in terms of who you want to be personally?
Yes, there is. There's obviously a few coaches from the different sport codes that we've learned a few tricks from. So there are a number of them. I think the Arsenal coach Arteta is one of them. Development-wise, growing into the team that Arsenal is. So that is basically one of the coaches that I admire quite a lot. And I think the South African rugby coaches have been doing quite well with the resources and manpower that they have. I think the South African rugby coaches really also bring out quite the depth. So it's a mixture of coaches. When it's netball, obviously the Australian coaches for me have been bringing it to the table. I think a few African coaches as well, also not doing bad as well.
Well, Dimi, you just declared that you're probably an Arsenal fan, right?
Yes, I've been an Arsenal fan, but I actually liked Arteta already from Manchester City. I've seen him grow as well as Jurgen Klopp. So these are some of the guys really, I like their style, that they are not eager to succeed, but they systematically build into something much bigger.
Most definitely. And what do you think of Arsenal's run right now?
Well, it's a fairy tale run. No one expected it, and right now we just need to ride the cloud as the fans. But to be honest, it's above expectation. It's not what we really thought the team could do.
Up next is the sharpshooter segment of the show right after the break.
Muscle and joint pain should not be the reason you can't perform at your best. Norflex Gel. It also shouldn't be the reason you miss that important deadline. Norflex Gel. Or miss those precious moments that matter the most. Norflex Gel. Norflex Gel penetrates through the skin, numbing the area and relieving pain and inflammation. Norflex Gel is now available in the pharmacy aisle and in supermarkets. New Norflex Gel Fort is available for stronger anti-inflammatory action.
Beat the pain with Norflex Gel.
First, they came for the socialist, and I did not speak out because I was not a socialist. Then they came for the trade unionist, and I did not speak out because I was not a trade unionist. Then they came for the Jews, and I did not speak out because I was not a Jew. Then they came for me, and there was no one left to speak for me. These are the famous words of Martin Niemöller, a reminder that we should not be silent in times of trouble and in need. I say this at a time when world athletics is abusing its power. They know the power they wield, they know they don't necessarily have to take things like the Universal Declaration of Human Rights into account because they are private organizations. So they don't really have to answer to anyone who might question how their rules impact marginalized athletes. I've always understood sport as a unifier and a tool to bring people and nations together. But for years, I have watched how black athletes are treated by international governing bodies. For example, the French Open organizers fined tennis star Naomi Osaka for refusing to speak to media as she cited that they were contributing to her mental health issues. The organizers, instead of being sensitive to her plea, went as far as threatening to expel her from future Grand Slams. Serena Williams wore a black catsuit at the French Open designed to help prevent the recurring blood clots she developed after a difficult childbirth. The French Tennis Federation deemed the outfit unacceptable. Williams found herself being accused of displaying disrespect towards the game despite putting her physical health first, much like Osaka, who prioritized her mental health. In both cases, there was a feeling that black women athletes were having their legitimate personal choices policed with insensitivity by governing bodies. The most decorated American gymnast in history, Simone Biles, got an underscore from the US Classic judges after she pulled off a Yurchenko double pike vault. Until that night, the move had never before been performed by a woman in competition, black or white. Then comes South African runner Caster Semenya, Uganda's Annette Nekesa, and Kenyan athlete Maximila Imali, all of them black athletes. Their cases again falls into the same category as the cases of Osaka, Williams, and Biles, in which black women at the top level of sports find themselves almost constantly policed for their actions, their bodies, hair, and their outfits. Namibia's own Christine Boma and Beatrice Mselingi are also now targets. They are being told to lower their testosterone or not compete this whole year. I cannot ignore this discrimination from World Athletics, and neither should you. It is discriminatory and only targets certain athletes. These women are being told to change themselves in order to compete. Most are being scrutinized for abilities that they did not gain through the use of performance enhancers. Boma and Mselingi are not just athletes to people of Namibia. They represent hope and aspirations. They are pathfinders to the rural poor and downtrodden. They are affirmation of black excellence as they continue to undermine a stereotype that nothing good will ever come from rural villages. I urge the global community to stand together for all these athletes who cannot fight for themselves. Stand up against these bullish governing bodies because enough is enough. With that, let's head over to the Game Changers segment of this show.
Hey, don't worry about the car, boss. I check nice.
Thank you, but it's okay, ne? F&B Insurance. Checks nicer.
No.
At F&B Insurance, we provide cover for all your valuables, from your car to your laptop to your phone. F&B Insurance. You value it, we cover it. T's and C's apply.
The Brave Warriors of Namibia played to an impressive 2-1 win against Cameroon in the second leg of the Africa Cup of Nations qualifiers yesterday. With these results, CAF reports that Namibia, together with host Ivory Coast, Morocco, Algeria, South Africa, and Senegal, have qualified for next year's competition. Namibia still has to play Burundi in June and needs to keep the momentum going in order to compete in January's competition. Well, of course, we have a brief post-interview with Colin Benjamin after the match, and right after that, we will then head over to the Globetrotter segment of today's show with Ari Hochad, and that will conclude today's sports wrap. We will, however, be back again tomorrow, same place, same time.
Our people as a whole, it's never easy being Namibia.
Coach, it's not mathematically done, but would you consider your chances going into the last couple of qualifiers strong, qualifying for the AFCON?
You know, it's always been our target. We want to qualify, especially you see the constellation of the group. So we're also professional enough to know that it's not through but we've made a big step.
Good day everyone, time for international sports news, starting off with soccer news. It is Euro 24 Germany qualifying that continues, lots of internationals being played, and it is qualifying for the 2024 tournament. A big result for Scotland. Scotland beat Spain by 2-0. That game was played in Hampden Park and that was in Glasgow, and it is significant for Scotland because it's the first time in 39 years that they beat Spain in a soccer game. And the hero there was Scott McTominay. He is from Scotland. He scored 2 goals for Scotland in that win against Spain. So lots of work to be done for Scotland to go through to the Germany 2024. 16th of June they play against Norway away and then home against Georgia. But the result against Spain, a big advantage for them going forward. Other games that was played, Georgia and Norway played 1-1 draw, and then Croatia beat Turkey. That game was played in Turkey. The score there was 2-0, and then Switzerland too strong for Israel. They played at home Switzerland. The score there was 3-0. Continuing with tennis news, Miami Open that is in the second week, and it was quarterfinals of the women's side of the draw. Jessica Pegula, number 3 seed of the USA, a tough game for her, but she's through to the semi-final. She beat Anastasia Potapova from Russia in 3 sets. It was 4-6, 6-3 and 7-6. Also, the number 10 seed, Elena Rybakina, she's also through to the semi-finals. She beat Martina Trevisan of Italy, 6-3 and 6-love. She continues with a good form. She won the Indianapolis, or the Indian Welsh, a few weeks ago. On the men's side of the draw, Daniel Medvedev, number 4 seed, he's through. That was a round of 16 game. He beat Quentin Hayles of France 6-4, 6-2. And then number 1 seed, Carlos Alcaraz, also through to the quarterfinals, beating Taylor Paul by 6-4, 6-4. And now he will play another American, and that is Taylor Fritz, number 9 seed. A tough game coming up for Carlos Alcaraz. It was Fritz that beat Helga Rune by 6-3 and 6-4. Continuing international sports news with golf news, it is the next tournament on the PGA is the Valero Texas Open being played at the TPC at San Antonio. Also important tournament for the pros. It starts on Thursday, but the winner of this tournament gets an invitation to the first major of the year, the Masters, that starts next week on the 6th of April. The winner of the tournament qualify, if not qualified before. And also in the tournament of the Masters next week, significantly will be 18 players of the Live Golf Breakaway League of Greg Norman. They banned from the PGA, but they can play in the majors, and many of them qualify because of being previous winners. Players like Sergio Garcia, Dustin Johnson, Patrick Reed and Phil Mickelson, previous winners. And also players to watch will be world number 4, that is Cameron Smith, and also Bryson DeChambeau. And then also Charles Schwartzel of South Africa. He's a previous winner in 2011. He qualifies. And also Louis Oosthuizen, because he was in the top 50 when invitations were sent out. So that's the Masters starting next week, Thursday at Augusta. Closing off with cricket news, and it's the West Indies that won the second T20 international at the Wanderers against the South African Proteas by 7 runs. It was the West Indies that batted first, 220 for 8 in their 20 overs, and South Africa 213 for the loss of 6 wickets. Important few 50 over one-day games coming up for South Africa. They play against the Netherlands starting on Friday. That will be in Benoni at Willowmore Park. It's a day-night game starting at 1 p.m. on Friday. South Africa need to win both the 50 over internationals. That is to qualify for the World Cup, 50 over World Cup later this year in India, October and November that will be. That's international sports news for today. Hope you have a great sport day, and we talk again tomorrow. Goodbye.